What is up, my friends? So, to all the boys I ever loved, P.S. I still love you. This movie is a sequel to All the Boys I Ever Loved, which starred Lara Jean as a girl who wrote a bunch of letters to all the boys she ever loved. And these were only letters that were meant to be sort of like, I need to express these feelings out because I just need to like clear my mind. And we all got those moments we have to write things down, things that we never would let anybody read because some people's feelings would be hurt, and in the case of Laura Jean, some people would get confused. But what happens here? Her little sister, in an effort to pretty much see her sister be happy, decides to mail all these letters out, and now we have Laura Jean pretty much like, oh my god. Ultimately, it works for the best because she ends up getting together with the guy she's currently crushing on, which is Peter, and it ends happily ever after. Not exactly. That's how the movie ended, number one. But then we have the problem that the sequel presents to us, and that is, what if somebody else that got that letter was like, you know what? I kind of like you too. So I'm coming into the picture. Cue in John. John is the person that's going to make Laura Jean wonder if she chose the right one and if Peter is who she needs to be with. So that's pretty much where the second movie opens up, as we have Laura not feeling the love, the connection again that she thought she had for Peter. And that is something that happens, I believe, when you first start really getting to know somebody as you are a couple, and you have to see that person for who they really are at times. And sometimes it can be something that annoys you and something that you don't like, but at the end of the day, that's who that person is, and you really have to come to terms with, are you going to accept that? And then to make matters worse, you have a guy who you have been crushing for a while now, and you currently still do, as you see him now more recently come into the picture, and it really starts to create this shaky ground where you're Laura and you're just like, did I make the right choice by going with someone like Peter, who is almost opposite of me? And we have these instances where we fight a lot and bicker and all of this, or somebody like John, who is exactly like me and we agree on most things and we can pretty much have a pretty steady relationship. And that's exactly where our climax begins right here for this movie, as we see that the jealousy between Peter, Laura, and Jen, which is his ex, Jen, start to brew more, as she sees that he is pretty much connected to her in a way still, which he claims is just his friends. But of course, when you're just in a new relationship, you don't see that because you're wondering what are they going to be up to if they were together at a point. After Laura finds out that Peter has been spending more time with Jen because she's going through family problems and she feels he's the only one that can listen to her and be there for her, she confronts him, and this leads into the biggest part of the movie where they ultimately break up, because Laura basically figures out that that night in the first movie when they were together in the hot tub, he was actually waiting for Jen, but it was actually Laura who came. And so she's just like, what if she had shown up and I didn't, then you would be with her? Which pretty much prompts her to be like, just go be with her then. Ends up going with John to a dance where she kisses him, and this is where she quickly realizes, I made a mistake. I did not feel anything in that kiss, and maybe we are better off as friends. Now, this makes her remember Korean Jung, which basically says that even though you might be with somebody who you love so much or you hate so much, you might still be connected to that person because of Jung, and that's basically what keeps you connected to that person. And this makes her realize a lot of her relationships and Peter's and everybody else around her, that's what's going on here, because she has this connection still with Jen, and she knows that Peter has a connection with Jen as well because of this past love or past hate that they now share. And it's inevitable for them to pretty much like forget about that other person, also making her realize that her dad isn't necessarily moving on with his life from her deceased mother as he now has a new girlfriend, but that he can still love her mother and still also love this new person as well. So she starts to see the gray in like love and relationships, that there is not just a black and white sort of thing. By the end of the film, however, we do see Laura ultimately choose Peter, and she basically is saying that she's just falling more in love with him as he is as well, and that's the end of our movie right there. Now we are in for another movie as well coming up, and it's based on the books as well, and I'll talk about that in a different video. But what did you think about the ending of this movie? As I said, I think that she has definitely started to realize that it's not necessarily bad if Peter and Jen still have a relationship. Just because they were a couple at a point doesn't mean that they're trying to be a couple still. They could be friends, and especially if Jen and Peter talk extensively about her problems, then of course she is somebody that he still feels something for, and it might not be something romantic, but it's still sort of that warm love. And thus, this is the same situation with her father as well, with a new girlfriend, and that meaning that he doesn't care about her mother anymore, but he can love that relationship he had with her and cherish those moments, but still he can continue with his life and brew a new relationship and have new memories. But what do you think about this whole thing with Young? Do you have somebody in your life that's like this, or do you think, like, would you have let somebody you know be talking to their ex still, and you're okay with it because you think that they had a relationship before, and of course there's still going to be some feelings, and maybe it's just friend feelings still? Or would you totally just like be like, no, you can't talk to your ex once you're done, that's it, because there's still feelings still muddled in there, and it's going to get pretty messy if you continue that? Like, where do you stand on this whole thing with, like, do you think people can still be friends with their exes when they're in a committed relationship, or do you think once, like, it's over, it's like you gotta move on, or else there is no closure? Because I'm somebody that thinks that when somebody's still with their ex, there is some like spark somewhere in there, and maybe it might not be from both of them, maybe it's one person. So I think keeping that friendship could still make it a little messy, and I think it's different when it's like a couple that has had kids already and they still have a communication and relationship. That's different. But I think if there's nothing there, like a kid or anything like that, I think that the relationship definitely has to end there. But that's just my opinion. Many people might see it differently, and I'd like to know what your thoughts on that below. So make sure you comment below to let me know what are your thoughts on that as well. And yeah, I'm just curious to see. Let's start a conversation on it, and let's see where the third film takes us, because we are indeed getting that third film, as it's currently or already stopped shooting. Also, very interested in if you think that we should get another film, and if we do get another film, what do you think that film should be about? I couldn't see them doing it the whole, oh, another love letter, another lover coming into the picture to mess. I just wouldn't believe that they could do something like that again, and don't want them to do it, so I hope they don't do that. But what do you think could happen in the third film? Are you excited for that or not? Or do you think that it was just like the first one was so good it shouldn't have made a sequel in the first place? Let me know below. I'd like to know. But I will also be doing a video on Fantasy Island this weekend as well. I don't know if I'll do a video on the photograph yet, but any other movies or TV shows on Netflix you would like for me to cover, let me know in the comments below. I like to get recommendations, and yeah, so if there's anything on Netflix you think is like, you need to see this and talk about it, comment it below. I'll get to it as soon as I can. But also follow me on Twitter, and you can follow me on Anchor. On Anchor, I mostly try to keep it towards the music now, and every now and then I'll put these videos up as well, talking about movies, but mostly I'm trying to keep it a music thing. So follow me on Twitter, and you can follow me on Instagram. Anyways, let me know, what was your favorite, this movie or the previous one, and what did you like, what didn't you like? Do you think Peter was the right choice, or do you think she should have just stayed with John? Only time will tell what's going to happen between these two until we get the next movie, probably next year. I think it's already stopped shooting as well. I think they shot it like back to back, so that one's done already, so it should be coming by next year for sure. But anyways, as always, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe, like, comment, share. We talk Netflix movies, movies that come out in theaters. And also, I would really appreciate it if you could follow my WordPress. I'll leave it below. That's my website right there, and that's where I pretty much write my articles, and it would help tremendously if you could just follow me on there as well. So go ahead and do that. Please leave a link below. I have other videos you can check out as well, covering movies, TV shows, anime, video games, music, all that good stuff. So make sure you subscribe below. And I'll see y'all next time. As always, stay positive.